So, but unless you guys have anything else for an opening, we could do a talk about Uzumaki since that's over with.
I only watched the first episode.
Oh, you never watched any more of it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I watched none of it because I've been very busy.
I think I saw a clip from the final episode where it looked like a PNG slowly spinning as it fell into a pit.
So
it was someone falling into a spiral, but it looked like it was like a still like PNG image of someone just like set up some keyframes and some like to just slowly make it like
No, yeah, I know the part you're talking about now that you say it again. Yeah. I don't know, I feel like it feels like it fluctuated some. Like episode 3 seemed like it had a like better animation, but then they all had moments like that, like the PNG falling in, like whereas like the first episode was just like pretty like solid all around. Like it all looked really nice and stuff. The rest of them were sadly
Were they duds or
rushed
spuds?
I don't know. They were curly fries. Because it's a spiral. That's what I was going for.
I mean, we can still talk about it briefly. I think I might finish it eventually, but I mean, did it, all of that stuff aside, did it stick the landing? Was it okay?
I mean, I really think I don't know if I want to, no, I think my bigger issue was something that was present in episode 1, and it's just that it was not enough time to tell the story. Like it's so rushed. Which I could deal with I think that's the bigger thing for me. Like I would be okay with like the animation as it was if that meant that, like I said, we got like 12 more episodes. That's what I'm saying. Like it's like a substantial amount more of like time and episodes that is needed to, I think, tell it properly.
So you want to go more of like a snail's pace?
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting that it fits. I think very nearly everything in the book is in the show, but it's just, again, just like some of it's like, here's this thing for like 2 minutes, and that's like one entire story, and it's just like over. It's so quick, especially the last episode. The last episode is like the last third of the book, I would say. And that in and of itself, that last third is like, it's like beginning of the end to the end, but I feel like that in and of itself is like a season of television, basically.
And how long are these episodes?
Half an hour.
30 minutes, yeah.
They got longer. The last one was like 35 minutes.
Oh, okay.
A little beefier. I think all in all, it's around 2 hours, the whole thing. Music was great throughout the show, too. I'm like, if you keep the animation from the first episode, keep the music that's in the whole show, and make it 4 times as long,
got a hit.
You got a stew going.
Yeah.
Baby, you got a stew going.
Speaking of stews...
Sure, yeah.
Corn cobs?
Speaking of
corn stew, what was he doing? I don't even know.
Speaking of various slop. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to episode 164 of ThereWillBeDuds. It was a long month.
Yeah.
That threw me off. I thought that had to be wrong, but nope. I am your co-host, TJ, and with me, as always,
I am Nick, and with us for this final week of horror movies is our horror respondent, Chris. Welcome back.
And I am hiding a surprise.
Oh no!
oh, no.
You just won't see it till the end of the movie.
Well, yeah, speaking of that, we are doing our dud horror movies, Rex. These were recommended by Nick, doing a double feature of the first and last of the Sleepaway Camp series. So first up, do we know what year this is? I think it's 83.
83.
Yep.
Yeah. First up is Sleepaway Camp from 1983, directed by Robert Hiltzik. It follows two cousins going to summer camp at Camp Arawak. The one in particular is just bullied relentlessly by everybody. And soon some people start getting killed off, start getting murdered. Various people at the camp. People are trying to figure out who it is. And then we find out who it is. But that's
True.
not the real twist.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a old school slasher. Definitely riffing on Friday the 13th.
Yes.
And other ones of the time, but definitely, obviously, mostly Friday the 13th. And kind of, I think it's a cult classic at this point. It has actually like pretty solid ratings for like a slasher movie.
I think it's been critically reevaluated quite a bit in the years since its release. I think when it came out, this strikes me as the type of movie where Roger Ebert would tell the cast and crew that they should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
like I don't know. I bet there's a Roger Ebert review out there, and it's probably like 2 thumbs down or 1 star. Like, he probably was not into this at all. But I don't think that's like his wheelhouse. I don't think he really particularly likes horror. I don't know. It was probably. I think this movie was. Although, so I ordered the Shout Factory like collector's edition Blu-ray of this because they were doing like a sale. So I have like a 2K scan of this movie, which is hilarious. Like, like a restoration of Sleepaway Camp. But I watched some of the special features on it, and there's like a little mini doc with like the director and a few of the cast members. And he said that the weekend that this movie came out, it was Sleepaway Camp, and then I think it was like God, what did he say? It was something 3D. It was like another spin. Like, I think it might have been Jason 3D, or if it was like Friday the 13th.
Jaws 3D.
I don't think it was Jaws 3D. But basically, like, this movie did better than like the other movies of that weekend that were more like established franchises. I think maybe it's because it was a new thing. But still, I don't think after that opening weekend, I don't think it did particularly well.
Okay. Yeah, really, I wonder what the general audience take was about, the whole thing.
I can probably guarantee it was something along the lines of, what the fuck?
Was that your reaction?
No, my reaction was that I was like, oh, I inadvertently had this spoiled by a random Robot Chicken clip from like their first season, where it's like a series of
really?
M. Night Shyamalan at the movies, and it's just like him every time. Like, what a twist! And one of the things that they do is Sleepaway Camp. It's like, oh my god, Angela's a man. It's, what a twist!
Oh, see, I think that's what like separates this movie from a lot of the forgettable B movies. Is like you have to have some. That is like the thing that everybody talks about. That is like the iconic thing that your Robot Chickens and Family Guys and like and all these other like late night shows will like reference forever. So in that regard, it's kind of a hit in terms of like the zeitgeist of like, oh yeah, it's like a classic horror movie because of the penis review at the end.
But yeah, like that scene came up and I was basically doing Leo from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Just
You're like,
I've seen one of those before.
so I'm gonna kind of put some cards on the table here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. I don't know. I almost want to amend this out of the dud cup into the normal cup.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen this movie and Return to Sleepaway Camp, I want to say a handful of times. I feel like we used to watch it. Like, I think I first saw this movie at your place.
I'd seen this one. I know for a fact we watched Return to Sleepaway Camp a lot. Like, I've seen that one way more than this one.
Yes.
But yeah, I definitely remember watching both of these with, at least like you and Trevor.
Yeah.
Once or twice, and then like with various friends.
I see, the thing is, I think it has Spud qualities.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the dialogue choices in this are awesome. They're so great. Like that. It sounds cliche to say Lynchian, but there's like an element of like weirdness, like especially their aunt. God, Aunt Martha.
Mm-hmm.
Who has this just like, come on down, kiddies. Oh, I've packed your lunches. Oh, yes. I must have remembered to pack your lunch. Like,
yeah.
Like,
she always has a declarative statement, a contemplative statement, and then declarative again. Yeah.
Like very like theater kid energy, like overselling it.
I believe that I've forgotten something. Now what can it be? Oh, I remember what it is. I knew I wouldn't forget. I just kept reminding myself. In fact, I tied a string around my finger so I wouldn't forget.
And like that stuff is like another thing that I think elevates it a little bit more. Like the stuff with like their parents, like that, these almost like black box theater sets where it's like their dad and his lover like laying in bed and like the two kids are watching and kind of giggling, but it doesn't feel like hateful. It didn't come across as like ooh, they're gay and that's bad, but it felt like this is like, oh, we're seeing something we shouldn't be seeing. These two people are being intimate and like they're just giggling like little kids. But like there's these moments.
An ugly one this weekend.
But like those little vignettes, I was like interested by that. Like it showed the Angela, aka Peter, with like the head wrap, and then it's like he's on the bed pointing, or maybe there's the two kids pointing at each other, and then the camera like spins, and then they swap places and they point at each other, and then like they change, and I'm like, I was almost thinking of like Glenn or Glenda, where I was like, I think the overall message of this is not as like progressive as like it what like I think you could reevaluate Glenn or Glenda and be like, oh, you can extrapolate a statement about
where it's like, I don't know if that was,
yes, it's like at the end of the day, is it like something for like the trans community to be like, yes, this is ours now, we're reclaiming this. I think there's a contingent that do, but I don't know if it necessarily comes across that way, where like near the end it almost seems like a punchline where it's just like, it's a woman with a penis. Like that's like the butt of jokes like of that time period, like very much like, oh, you went on a date with a lady and then she had a bigger penis than you, or like, that type of like, chicks with dicks humor, where it's like, I don't know if like the movie necessarily succeeded in that, but I think they had some interesting ideas that like, again, with like a later evaluation, you can like, oh, that's interesting. Like that's a little ahead of its time in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can talk about the campers and the kids and the plot also, but I just kind of wanted to get that out there because like watching this in like 2008 when I'm like 17 years old, and I'm like, whoa, like, oh, she has a penis. It's like my sensibilities and my analysis has developed since then. So I just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think just like everybody was a fucking asshole to her. So,
yes,
Also
that.
It just kills him, whatever. That's good. I don't know. It's weird because like watching it, like even with that, like it doesn't like I feel like it has to, or at least like nowadays it would have to, like you'd have to get an answer from like the filmmakers, like what did you mean by this? What was the intent of this?
Yeah.
But like watching it, I'm like, I don't even know if I feel that watching it. I think it was just kind of like, isn't this a crazy twist?
Yeah.
And then not thinking of the implications of like what that could mean as far as like saying things about like transgenders or whatever. I kind of view it as just like, he just thought it was like, I'm going to add a twist to the twist.
Right. And I would agree, but I think those little vignettes that you see of the kids in the bed pointing at each other, the very like sort of art house stuff of like the kids seeing the two men laying in bed, and then the pointing and like all of that sort of ethereal weird stuff in her flashbacks of her memories. I guess that's the stuff that I think almost pulls you away from like, this is a revenge slasher, and it almost makes you want to think, oh, like, is this movie trying to say something else? I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it achieves that, but I think if those things weren't in there, I think it would be like, yeah, this is like a revenge slasher with a big twist. But it has those couple scenes that seem almost like out of place, and I thought were interesting additions for like a movie from the 80s. Like I feel like you wouldn't see those like sort of artistic, dreamlike segments in like a normal, like Friday the 13th. I feel like doesn't have the kind of like those little nuanced little scenes,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
See, I thought that was more just like a consequence of Angela's head injury from getting hit by the boat. Like, that's why I thought like she wasn't showering or didn't want to take off her clothes to go swimming. It's like, oh, she's probably has all these scars, and maybe these like flashbacks, maybe they're real, maybe they're not. But it's just like, maybe she's just not mentally there. And I thought that's what it was trying to get. So the ending part did catch me off guard. Because until I saw it, I didn't know I had already known the twist. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be another thing, is like just knowing where it's going. We're kind of looking at it differently, but it, from a first time viewing standpoint, they're done like that to differentiate it. But I think like the thing they're highlighted on is it's like it's giving you questions, and it's like what's the answer, and it's kind of like clues, breadcrumbs for like the big reveal at the end or whatever.
Which is fun because like knowing how it ends with that in mind, there are things that I definitely like missed when I first watched this years ago. Like when she's talking to Aunt Martha, and Aunt Martha says, "Oh dear, don't tell them where you got your physical. Oh no." Like it's like, and then I'm like, "Oh shit, it's because she forged it." Like I think when I initially watched this movie, I was just like, yeah. Aunt Martha's crazy and weird, and she's doing this sing-song voice. This is annoying. Let's get to the camp. But then I'm like watching it, it's like, yeah, there are plenty of clues that like lead you into it. The shower thing I thought was just like she didn't want to shower with the other girls because then they would see her huge dong.
Yeah, I figured that one. I didn't want to see her dick.
Well, yeah, like once you already know what's going on, but on the initial watch, I was like, oh, she probably still has a bunch of scars.
She's like traumatized by water or something. I mean, she definitely does seem traumatized by water. Like when they go to throw her in, and she's like, I can't swim. I don't want to go in the water. That seemed like a trauma response.
Unless she needs to go in there to drown someone.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah, I think that could be part of it, and I mean that is also another Friday the 13th tie, because like Jason drowned, like that's how he died, like when he was a kid or whatever. So he's like terrified at the water too. So, but it's like a good mask. It's like, oh, you get that scene at the beginning. It's like you're not really thinking about it other than like, oh, she doesn't like the water because that's where like her dad and her brother died or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also fun. Like that whole opening scene is so funny. How it's like they're like, oh, their canoe tips over, haha, we're splashing, we're playing around, and then it's like the people like across the lake in the speedboat. She's like, let me drive. He's like, okay. And then like they're just going straight towards the land in the direction of the shore, and they wait so long to be like, look out.
It's like, oh, the person behind us is yelling something. We better both turn to look at her and not look at what's coming up ahead.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Turn it! Turn the wheel! Give me the wheel!
Also, my favorite line in the whole movie that will stick with me until the day I die was during their softball game. Eat shit and die, Ricky. Well, eat shit and live, Bill.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is like iconic. It's so good. It's so weird.
No problem, Gino. This guy blows dead dogs. Just lay it in there.
Eat shit and die, Ricky!
Eat shit and live, Bill.
Yeah, Bill, he's a little wet.
I forgot how, like, absolutely disgusting the chef was. Like, I remember like him referring to them as baldies. Like, when he said that line, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I remember this now.
Yeah.
But it's so wild that he's just like saying this in front of everyone else. Like he's like, it's so cool to be a pedophile. Like he is just like completely unashamed by it and is expecting everyone else to be like, hell yeah, man, you're right. Those preteens are hot.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And
I guess that's another thing.
First opportunity he gets, he tries to assault someone.
Yeah. In the middle of a shift, like anyone could walk in, and he's like so mad about it. It's like, yeah, dude, there are other people in the kitchen. Why are you doing this in the middle of the day?
That's their version of a shifty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you get to, there was two in particular that I was like the kills in this movie are like fun and creative, but there was two, and one of them was the chef, where I'm like you could have like, because that's the one where they like grab the stool or whatever that he's standing on, like starts pulling it away, and he like has his hands like on the shelf above the thing, and he's like, oh no, I'm gonna like dude, I'm gonna fall, and it's like you could just like lean back or something, or you could like if you're
sideways.
Like really worried about falling in there, just move. And then the only reason that it like works, I guess the kill works, is because like as he comes down, he like knocks the pot of water like over onto him. It's like, could have just not done that, and it made me like that. Maybe that's reflexive, but the whole thing about like I would have just like pushed off of the shelf to like stand up. Maybe I would have fallen off the stool, right? But
yeah, it's like already kind of an implausible kill, and it doesn't help to like draw it out and extend it and draw attention to it, because the longer it takes, the more ridiculous it seems, where it's just like it just keeps cuts to him like shaking the stool a few times, and you're like, at this point in time, like you could have easily just like hopped off the side of the stool. But it's like,
right? Yeah.
The thing about the kills in this movie is that pretty much everyone is immediately resigned to their fate and does not put up like a fight at all. They're just, oh, I've been bested. Time to die now, I guess.
Yeah.
This very thin broomstick is keeping me in here. I guess I'll perish.
That's the other one. That was the other one that I was. Exactly.
Like,
exactly. Crawl under the stall. And but I will say those two deaths, the cook with the soup or whatever, and then the bee stings, those were really cool effects.
Yeah,
like really
visually.
Gross, like like the bees like crawling into like the holes in his arm and stuff.
Yeah,
It was really gnarly.
I was looking up the trivia for that, and like the way they did that is like they built fake stuff and put a bunch of sugar on it, so that way the bees would be attracted to it. And then for the chef, it was like this like gelatin or silicone or something that they were like pumping fluids into from underneath, so that way it would make it look like the burns were progressing.
Yikes. I like I was like really like old school like horror movie, like this chef did it and I think somebody else did it too, but like the hands like like up in the air, you see like the silhouette of them or the shadow of them in for one of the kills, like
I think Judy, you see her hands go up and she curls her fingers as she gets maybe one of the most famous kills in the movie. Because like I'm watching this with Chloe and she's never seen it before. So like basically before each of the kills happens, I'm like, oh yeah, that's how this one goes. And then I got to Judy and I was like, oh no, I remember how this one goes. Man. See, the thing that separates this from Return to Sleepaway Camp is that at least Angela is like kind of like a redeemable character where like she is obviously like traumatized and it's not reciprocal bullying. Like she's not doing anything. I mean, I guess you could say murdering someone is bullying them to a permanent end.
But nobody knows that.
That's not
that's not why
escalating.
She's being bullied.
Yeah. And it's like the thing about this movie, and I don't know if it's like that with like Friday the 13th or other slashers, but basically everyone who gets killed, I will say, save for like maybe Paul at the end, the one person that seems to like be interested in Angela, everyone else kind of has it coming.
Well, Paul made out
they're
with
all
someone and got caught.
worthy victims. What's that?
Well, Paul made out with someone else and got caught.
He was like cheating on her.
Yeah,
but the other sins are much worse. Like people like the like pedophile chef guy or Judy just being an unrelenting cunt the whole time.
There was a Letterboxd review that I liked that was like, you can tell that Judy is a real bitch because she has her own name like on her shirt. Because I was like, is she a counselor? Like, no one else has like their name. Like, she just has a shirt that says Judy on it. Like, she's walking around in her own merch.
That's how I feel when I see someone with their last name tattooed on them. I'm just like, are you that dumb? Do you not remember what it is?
Like, oh yeah. Which apparently, Angela, Judy, and Meg behind the scenes were like really, really good friends. They like hit it off immediately. And in the IMDb trivia, it says that like the scene where they had to throw Angela in the water was like hard for them to shoot because they liked each other so much that like they legitimately felt bad about like having to bully her and throw her in the water.
Oh. Did you guys like the speaking of lines that we like, did you guys like the I like the excuse me bitch? Because the way he said it, I was in my head, I did the like excuse me princess, and then immediately after I said that bitch. Oh, Ronnie is great. Ronnie is awesome. I love his acting throughout in both movies. He's great. Like his character, is so like great. He's like such a good guy that I had to look up. He was giving me such Johnny in the Room, or I think Mark in Miami Connection vibes.
Yeah.
That like the director, writer, like putting themselves in their own movie and just making themselves the nicest guy ever. That like he gave off such that energy where he's like, "Hey guys, come on. We need to stop picking on her, all right? We just need to come together as a camp." And you know, like that energy the whole time. And he's like fucking ripped, and he's in those shortest fucking shorts ever.
Yeah, dude.
Showing off and just being like a great guy. I
works
had that. I
out
was
for
like,
him.
is
He gets
that
to be in
the
the sequel?
yeah? But yeah, I had to check. I was like, is this guy? But he's not. He's not the. He's just a guy. He's just some. He's not the writer or director or anything. I'm like, man,
Just a great guy.
yeah, just a really good guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
watching this, I was honestly surprised that it was a dud pick. I was like, this is a solid slasher movie. The kills are fun. The effects look good, especially for the time. You know, it definitely like this is a perfect movie to like watch at a hangout.
Yes. And that's kind of what I was getting at with like the should it be lifted out of the dud cup, but also like as a spud, I think it works because like the kills are creative. There's those like oddball lines that like all the characters have. Like Ricky is just like constantly calling everybody a bastard or a peckerhead or a just like I don't know. I don't know if you guys ever went to like summer camp as kids. I mean, we did. I did like band camp. But that was only like a week. I never did a camp that was like an entire summer long type deal. But man, we
I never did that. I did like mine was like 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what mine was.
Like at band camp, we got up to some shenanigans. Like there was like towel boxing, where like kids would wrap like their towels around their fists and like box in the dorms.
Yeah.
You know, like we got up to shit like that, but none of it was like, we did not talk to each other like that, where it was like,
oh, sure. Yeah.
Constantly just like saying the worst shit imaginable and just being insanely cruel. Like that was never my experience, but like every kid in this movie is just like,
just instantly
all
hate
just, like,
this girl who just like doesn't talk or bother anybody.
Yeah.
She's different.
It's like, hey, you're not like us. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean from what I remember, again, not being the whole summer long, it was like I mostly knew my bunk mates and then like a few other people, but most everyone else it was just kind of like passing. It wasn't like this like where it's like a boarding school where fucking everybody knows everybody else by name and they like everybody is like some relationship with somebody else. It was just kind of like I knew a few people and then everyone else was fun. Yeah, nobody died or anything. I almost did, actually. I got a staph infection, so I almost killed myself.
Damn. I guess we did. I didn't. I'm not saying we as in I was involved in this, but a couple kids my freshman year of band camp did get kicked out of band for a year because they saran wrapped a kid to his bunk. A kid whose dad was a superintendent or a principal at the time.
Ooh.
So yeah, which is like, come on, man. Like you know it's in jest. Like no one actually like all of like those types of pranks were done not for like I'm doing this because I hate you like type of thing.
Not
although
like not this where these kids have like true hatred in their hearts.
They're all like future serial killers where just like they have no impulse control. So just like whatever they think and feel, that's like what they do at a given moment. And most of the time it's just like say terrible shit. We did get someone with the atomic sit up at band camp as well. So maybe it's a little more aligning with my experience. But again, it wasn't like the cruelty was not the point.
So I have somewhat of a tangent from when I was in boot camp. There was a guy that nobody liked because he had like no willpower, so he'd always give up on stuff and get the rest of us like punished and having to do the rest of his stuff for him. So one night when he was asleep, other people took these things, they're called boot bands, and like they're little like elastic things you hook around and they go around like where your boots meet your trousers, and you cuff your trousers so your trousers aren't just hanging loose. And they took him and stretched him out underneath his rack on like both sides of his sheet, so he was like pinned to his bed. So in the morning when we're all getting screamed at by drill instructors to get up, he can't get up and get out, so they're just like targeting him because he's late.
Oh. I thought you were gonna say you did that, and then the rest of you ran up with like the sock full of like soap bars.
I was
beat
about
him, like in Full Metal Jacket.
No. I thought you were like gonna say like, oh yeah, I had this story, and then you just tell us the anecdote from Full Metal Jacket. But
No, we shot our drill instructor and himself.
We didn't have bars of soap, so you had to use the lock from your wall locker.
Yeah, I mean, I'll second, third, whatever the sentiment. I almost said it before, before I even recommended it. I was like, maybe we should have just done Return or something like that, because I don't know, but I guess I'm saying I totally agree wholeheartedly that I like it genuinely and ironically. I think it works in both fronts, and I am glad that we watched them, because I liked this one. I had a much better time with this one than I expected.
Yeah,
in my memory I was like, oh, Return to Sleepaway Camp, that's the fun one. This one's just kind of boring, and then she has a dick. But I really like the overall tone, the campiness of it, if you will, it's really fun. It's a really fun, entertaining movie throughout. I like the colorful attire that everybody has. It's so 80s.
That all the jorts, the cutoff jorts.
Yeah, all the jorts. Yeah. And then they might not make the most sense, but fun kills and good gore and stuff. And
yeah, again on the Blu-ray there was a behind the scenes making of type deal, and they did talk quite extensively with the guy that did all of those practical effects, and he talked about making the Angela mask, because it's obviously not her at the end. Yeah, I know, right? Felissa Rose is actually in this little documentary quite a bit, and she's talking about her experience there, and I guess her mom was all right, honey, we're gonna take you to the auditions and we're gonna get you all these roles. Oh, a horror movie? Sure, let's go. And I guess her mom was very much okay, but for all of the kills, she did not want Felissa Rose's hands to be seen doing all of the kills. She essentially didn't want her to kind of be subjected to doing all of those things, because she was 13 at the time.
Interesting. See, I thought that was just a choice made to throw people off.
I think that's probably how they justify it, because I think it was Ricky's hands that they used.
Oh, okay.
Even to the point where there's that one shot where I think that might be Judy's kill, where the door is open and it's they're backlit, and it's Ricky, but he's wearing kind of a wig.
Yeah.
It's almost
I think that was Angela, because she has her hair tucked into the shirt. But then maybe when they actually did the kill, it was him.
Yeah. But so for the final scene, they had Felissa Rose come in, and then they made a cast of her face, and then they put these glass eyes in it, and then the guy that they got to be the penis was apparently some college kid from the town that they paid a couple $100 to do it. I guess he was just extremely nervous about it, and was just I don't know, man, I don't know if I should. So they were giving him beer. It's they were feeding him beers and just kind of getting him loosened up, and then eventually he did it. But I guess they shaved him too. So they shaved him except for his bush. And then put the mask on, and no one knows who it is. They filmed that scene, the guy took the mask off, put his pants on, and washed his hands of the whole incident, because I don't think they know who it is. But yeah, no one who knows what happened to that guy afterwards.
Yeah, weird.
Still out there killing kids.
Yeah.
We ready to move on to the fourth one?
Yeah, do we want to rate these out of a spud or dud? This is actually going to be kind of hard, I think.
I don't know. I'm comfortable with either. Honestly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do we want to do an official change up, or do we want to leave it in the dud cup? What do we think?
I'll start, and I'll say this. I think it's a spud, and I think I had a way of wording it and I don't remember now. I was like, it's a spud, but I think it's safe to put it in the dud cup, but it's like it could not be also. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are elements of it that are really fun and entertaining, and it's like a really good entry into the slasher genre, and it does some twists and some changes that you don't see coming. And if you want to, there are these other weird little scenes that you can look at, and like, you know, it's more artistic in some ways. Like it does some stuff differently than like I think most slashers of its time do. And so it's like kind of ahead of its time in that way a little bit. I'm being like all film school analysis on it, but my cross to bear, I suppose. Cause like, I don't know. I think I really liked that stuff this time around. And I think watching it initially, I probably was like, this is weird. This is boring. Like, why are they showing me this? This is weird. But it's like, yeah, I like thinking about that stuff. So, yeah, I think still in the dud cup, but it's a very, 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 very high spud. If that makes any sense at all. It's really hard because like I could also see myself watching it again and being like, no, take this out of the dud cup. This is like. But I think being like a B slasher movie, it's already sort of inherently in like the dud cup, just by like the nature of those movies. I don't know, you know.
It's like a
what would you
frogs
give
and toads
it?
scenario.
Oh no.
Oh, like on a normal ranking,
Yeah, what would you give it?
like a 6 or a 7.
Oh, okay. All right. What about you, Chris?
Normal ranking, I'd be right there with Nick, and Sputter Dud, I'm also right there with Nick. This is such a fun movie. Like, it's fine being in the Spud Cup just because of the genre. It's like it's an 80s slasher movie. You know what you're gonna get. You don't have to look for a deep story. It is there if you want more to look for. But you watch it, you have fun with the kills. You know, you get some of the fun dialogue. Just have a good time. It's a blast.
Yeah, I'm a Spud too, obviously. Just love the tone. I think The Ant is a perfect example of like how it's a good, like, I feel like the movie knows what it is, or it's just like an amazing accident. I don't know, because like her character as a whole should just be like, yeah, the movie knows what's going for. It's some like campy, satirical like slasher thing. And yeah, it's great. It's pretty entertaining, like the whole time. I love the tone and everything. I'm actually like, and I think I'm good keeping it in the dud cup because I do think my normal rating is a little like tinted by like it wouldn't just be a straight up thing, because I'm honestly thinking like an 8 or potentially a 9 is how much I really love this movie. But some of that is not for the same reasons that like I like other movies that much, you know what I mean? So I think
it's rated that high
like,
because of its dudliness, like those dud,
exactly.
like, you know, yeah.
But some of it is also for genuine, like, this is a good slasher type stuff too. So it's like it's gets that high for both scales. So yeah, I think this movie fucking rocks. Yeah, and I'm glad that we got to do them. I wasn't expecting that like a revisit was gonna do so much for me, but I had a really good time. And now that that one is out of the way, we are going to return to Sleepaway Camp from 2008, also directed by Robert Hiltzik. It is in it we return to Sleepaway Camp, but actually it's a different camp, but whatever. Some of the same people are there. There's a kid, Alan, who is also relentlessly picked on, and the people start getting killed off, much like the original one. It's like 20 years after, I think that's roughly when the movie was made. And also, I think that's roughly when it's set. Angela has been in like an insane asylum ever since. So they're like, oh no, she's still there. We swear it's somebody else. It's not this cop with clearly like makeup and fake voice and everything. It's not him.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure. I go to see her every few weeks. I'm the only one who goes to see her.
You mean him?
What?
Him? Angela's really a man now, isn't she?
You know what? Fuck you!
I will say better mustache and beard than the previous cop in the first movie.
The guy
which
at
we
the
didn't
end of the
Forgot
first
to
movie.
mention that. Just
The
like
guy-
you can just tell it's just like stuck on.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was amazing. So that's it. It's a return. It's the return of the original director, writer. Some of the original stars are back. So it's kind of like the Halloween 2018, because it also does that thing where it's like, we're ignoring all the other sequels. This is the original guy coming back to work on it, and it's just kind of continuing off of that. And it is like a really similar premise, because in that it's like, oh, Michael Myers has been in the insane asylum the whole time, but now he escaped and he's doing it again.
It's funny that you mentioned earlier that you were like going into this like, okay, yeah, the original Sleepaway Camp, like it's a classic, but it's just like your generic slasher and then dick reveal. But Return is the funny one. And I think you and I had a similar trajectory where I did not expect to like the first one as much as I did. And then I still laughed a lot and enjoyed the viewing, but Return to Sleepaway Camp is a tough watch. It is a tough watch.
Okay.
Alan is probably one of the most irredeemable characters put to celluloid. I hate him so much. Everything that happens to him, like, I feel like it's like a fundamental betrayal of like what makes the first movie work. Where like Angel, it's like she's like, you know, she can do no wrong essentially. Like she's the way that she's bullied, you know, it's like she's very sweet and innocent and does not deserve the bullying that she gets.
Right.
Alan, on the other hand, is such a raging dickhead that like everything he does is the most annoying shit in the world. And kudos to the actor. I don't think he's really done anything like since this movie. I think maybe he did like a few like small TV spots, but Michael Gibney, I don't think that dude has done anything else. And part of me wonders if this movie is why he hasn't like wanted to return to acting.
It's like, yeah, like not that her career completely died after it, but it's like a Elizabeth, fucking, what's her name? God, we said it so many. The girl from Showgirls. Like, people say, like, oh, she's terrible. That movie's terrible. It's like, no, she's good in the role. It's just a weird movie. It's like, you can have a good performance with, like, a bad writing, you know? Still does a good job.
I made a note that every character in this movie acts like Nomi from Showgirls. Where, like, they will switch up on a dime, go from, like, nice to, like, beyond pissed, like on a dime. On a moment's notice will be the angriest they've ever been in their entire life.
Now eat the chicken before I shove it down your throat.
No, you eat it.
Eat the fucking chicken, Alan. Leave me alone. Eat it. No.
Yeah, I like to think that we're coming into this is an in media res situation where I think this is just a continuation of the cycle of violence with Alan. Because, like, he is always like, oh, they're always picking on me. And, like, yes, people are always picking on him when he's not picking on other people. And it's weird because there's a difference. Because every time he's, like, making fun of other people, it's, like, just him. He's like, oh, you're a fucking idiot, shove, you know, and then like everybody's like, Alan, chill out, like, cool it. Dude. But then anytime somebody does that to Alan, everybody is laughing and pointing and like so like you kind like it is a there is a disparity in the level of mockery, but it's like he's still doing it, and he still is like he's oblivious to his own like contribution to this system.
Yeah.
Like his one redeeming quality is that he happens to be nice to frogs. Other than that, if he senses weakness in anyone else, he's like, oh, I'm going to bully this person. But also, how dare anyone pick on me?
Yeah. I didn't do anything wrong. Why is everybody mad at me all the time?
All I was doing is pulling her hair or throwing things at people.
Yeah.
Come on. I just threw a knife at a guy. Why are you mad?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's even a part where Ronnie, or maybe it's Vincent Pastore, like come in and they're like, "Hey, like," and he's like, "They're picking on me, and then they're like, "Come over with us. We're gonna." They're like, "You need to chill out, Alan." They're like, "And stop picking on Alan, everybody." And like, "Yeah, whatever." And then Alan's like, "Ugh." And like, but like as he's storming off, he like yanks on the girl's pigtails or something. He's like, "Ha ha!" Like right after.
Yeah,
they're like, you know, cut all this out. Stop making fun of him. He goes back to doing it like instantly.
Yeah, like he gets like tricked into smoking a joint of cow manure, which I forgot about the blowjob part.
Yeah,
but it's like he's like and what's her name? Petey is like his one person in his corner is Petey, and she'll be there to be like, come on guys, like she's like oblivious to it. She's like, come on guys, let's be nice to Alan. You guys are always picking on him. And it's like after that scene where like he smokes the joint, as like she's kind of leading him away, he literally turns around and looks at the guys and does like a and it's just like he learned nothing from this experience. Like even as he's like simpering and crying and being led away, he'll find a way to turn around and just be like, "Yeah, your ass stinks."
Yeah, just always trying to get the last thing in.
Yeah.
Why don't you just come with me, all right? You're such a pussy, Alan. Hey, Randy, your ass stinks.
And I like that, like, the first time he said "your ass stinks," like in the cafeteria at the beginning of the movie, it got a pop. Like, kids in the cafeteria laughed.
Huge pop.
It's like, big pop on that one. But then it's like he just kept saying it. He didn't have any new material. Not the cleverest kid.
Yeah, this movie was weird because I was like, on the one hand, the killer is probably definitely him, just being a vindictive little bitch. But on the other hand, it's so obvious. There's no way the killer can be him.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not know where it was going.
Oh, so you didn't know the cop?
No, I thought this movie just did not have nearly the budget as the other one, or they spent it all on Isaac Hayes.
Oh, so you didn't think that they were going to have her back or whatever?
I didn't. I thought it was just going to be like the one guy who's now a camp counselor, and that was their loose connection, and then he's throwing out accusations just to kind of tie it in. I didn't know like the status of the other sequels or anything like that. Like I thought it was like, this cop just has a very shitty makeup job because they have no budget left.
Okay.
Oh.
Dang, that'd be cool then. That'd be cool to watch it like not knowing that she was in it. Because I think knowing she's in it, you know that it's her. So then you're like,
yeah. If I'd known that, I'd been like, duh, come on.
Yeah. But I like the. So I guess knowing where it's going, I like that. They even do like they try to pull a red herring with Petey. With I think Ronnie is like, I think that's him who's like
every time Alan's around someone, you're there, aren't you? You're always there.
Yeah.
Peter. Oh, your name's Peter.
They like point it out, and then immediately after that, the cop shows up and they're like, "What's going on here?" Right after they accuse Peter or Petey.
That was another thing. Like even with like the cop's hair, this is from 35 years of smoking. It's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Like, could she not do like a a little fake voice or something like that, or I don't know. They could.
I think maybe that might just be a kind of throw in because of there's a guy on South Park who always does that, and they have Isaac Hayes as a chef.
Jeez, you're right. Yeah, maybe.
He was also dressed like Chef from South Park.
Yeah.
He felt underutilized. Same with James Earl Jones' dad in the first one. Like he's in it for like his one little scene. He has a few lines, and then like Isaac Hayes is just gone for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, right. I think it's after the cook in this one gets killed, which is like as a throwback to the old one. But this one makes more sense as to why it was like dangerous, because they like picked him up by the feet, so he didn't have like he couldn't do anything, right? So it made sense that it was like, yeah, yeah. I do like that this movie. The first shot of the movie is a kid lighting a fart. I think that's a good like. It you know, it lets you know like what you're in store for.
That's like the first line of the Wikipedia article. The plot: several boys are lighting farts. That's the first 5 words.
That's awesome.
It's so good. I forgot that that's how it started, and then of course Alan just sucks ass at it. Of course, he's not good at anything.
No, he can't even do huge farts. I mean, come on. God, he's so I don't know like what the intent of his character is too, because he's so fucking disgusting too. Like every
dude, he doesn't change his clothes at all.
No, there's the one time where there's like the paintball scene where he gets like shot with all the paintballs and stuff, and he's
by his own team and the other team. Like
yeah. And then I think he meets up with the girls after that, but he still has like the paint all over his shirt. And then after that, it's like nighttime again, because there's like a dance or whatever, and he has a different shirt on because there's no more paint on it. So he changed clothes, but it is still just like brown from sweat stains.
Pit
and
stains.
It's nighttime. It's nighttime. So like he had to, this shirt was just like this, and he put it on.
That's his Sunday best.
That much again. I guess so.
Ugh.
Or even the scene where he goes up to one of the girls where she's like, "What's that smell?" It's like, oh yeah, they were throwing eggs in me. You didn't think to change? Like, why?
Yeah. I can't believe I forgot that, because I feel like that was like our like favorite fucking part of the movie when we were younger. It was the guy getting his dick ripped off.
Just like the back and forth with the Jeep and like in like little ditch.
Yeah.
And he's
it does go on. Yeah. It does go on for a while. Like before that, like before she even gets in the car, he's just like, he gets tied up, and then you get like shots of the string, shots of him, and then she's like standing at the car. But then like when she gets in the truck, it's like it gets good. But like, man, it's a really long build up.
It was.
What are we hanging mice tonight?
And just watching that scene and the way the guy is tied up with like the space between the tree and the other tree that the rope is also around, it's like, buddy, if you just wiggle to your left, you have room.
You're right.
Also, it's another instance of them being resigned to their fates.
Yeah. Also, who pees facing away from the tree?
He was like peeing to the side, I think, right?
No, he had his like back to the tree and was pissing forward.
No, I thought he. Well, it could be. I mean,
because that's how they loop him.
I thought he heard a noise and like turned around.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
And
yeah,
also,
the whole thing was weird.
If you're peeing, your hands are free to cover your junk from the noose.
Right. Yeah.
But again, you know, it knows what movie it is.
Yeah. He did. Yeah, it was so weird. Like the way that it was like shooting around the actual like mechanics of her like tying him up, because she does like 2 loops of the rope around it, but like where she getting her arms all the way around this tree trunk, like she like hugging it, going around it like this, and then dropping the thing down and like, you know, putting his dick through the noose thing or whatever. Because the whole time he thought it was the chick that he was with or whatever. He's going, Linda, let me out. So she must have been doing it from behind the whole time, so he couldn't see her, right?
Yeah.
Weird. I don't get the logistics of that at all. But yeah, the whole final, you know, you get like, there's like a few kills for most of the movie. There like a couple people die, and then you get just like kind of one after another like
just
kill
a
scenes, and those
montage.
are all pretty good. Like, oh man, the one where the girl gets squished by the nail bunk bed. That one fucking rocks.
Motherfucker! What the fuck?
That one's so good.
That's my favorite. My second favorite is the like basically punji stick up through the hole.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's another one where it's like
they keep looking back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't see. You look. Okay, now you look.
It's still down there.
He's like, yeah, I guess I do see it. Yeah, it is down there, right? And he's like,
it looks pretty
actually,
sharp,
it's a little
right?
dark.
Well, hang on.
Yeah, I see it. So what? Are you kidding? Look at it. It's as sharp as a fucking spike. Maybe. Yeah, I can't tell. It's too dark down there. What are you talking about? I can see it perfect.
And then the kid just runs into the wall and it just pushes out the back of his skull. I was like, this rocks.
It's like, dude, you have another eye available. Like, I know he's like panicked, but he's just like, he's like, ah, and he just runs forward. And
yeah. Actually,
Also,
did you guys? Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, also, you could just go outside and go under the cabin to grab it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or like
Don't
not
look
stick your
through it.
eye down there since you know it shot up out of there before to try to stab. I don't know. I don't know. I was gonna say, did you guys watch to the end of the credits? Because that was a pretty good one too. Yeah, that was a good one.
That was like the most like. I guess she needed his car, but it just felt so unnecessary.
That was another one where like it just instantly like I'm not counting her because she was like trying to like I don't know, she was acting up for the scene or whatever for him, but the cop's like, hey, what's the problem? She's like, oh, I need you to fix it. And he's like, oh, I'm looking. Like, he's instantly like, I'm checking the tires. Like, shut up. Like, I'm looking. And he's just like, instantly, they're just like back and forth, just yelling and getting pissed at her.
You need a hand, miss?
Yes, please. Okay, I have this leak, and this is my boyfriend's
Leak?
car.
What's the matter? You got a flat? Okay, calm down. Just give me a second here.
Then that's it. He's gonna kill me.
I'm looking at it.
But back to the nail bunk bed. When the sheet is first pulled and you see all the nails, I was like, this is gonna rock.
Yeah.
Just full on jumps from the rafters onto the bunk bed and just sandwiches her.
It's
yeah,
it's really good. Yeah,
because like all the other kills they're sort of implied. Like you don't. I guess you get like maybe a few frames of like the prosthetic penis getting ripped off like near the end, but for the most part, a lot of the kills.
Yeah, you see it going away. You see it getting pulled off. Yeah.
But this one feels like visceral. Like there's no, camera pulls away or like, it's partially obstructed or like this one is just like the full body weight of Angela lands on the thing and it just goes down and it's like a satisfying plop. And then you see like the fake yeah.
You get some of them. I mean, you see the guy like flop out of the deep fryer. That was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are some that are just kind of like aftermath. I guess maybe that guy didn't even die. I guess you could assume maybe blood loss because the one girl does like kind of run into him later. The guy gets his dick ripped off.
Well, him
but,
and
like,
the girl who crashes the Jeep with all the barbed wire that she gets caught up in when she's trying to drive away. They're both still alive. Because they're both like,
Yeah. True. Which is, it's funny because usually just like slashers are more effective, but sometimes Angela doesn't kill him because she doesn't technically kill the cook in the first one either because he gets like taken away by the ambulance and just really badly burned.
He probably just wishes he was dead.
Yeah.
I guess Angela is a little bit less redeemable when all the kids on the camp get killed, like the little children in the sleeping bags.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But
that was pretty rough. And
forgot about that.
It is interesting because like in the little behind the scenes doc, the director was like, if there's one thing I could go back and redo, I probably wouldn't have like the actual children being killed in like their sleeping bags. He's like, I probably wouldn't do that again. That felt a little too far.
Honestly,
like,
I
I don't
think
know,
it's
I guess-
something that sets it apart from other horror movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like there was like a horror movie recently. I'm not sure which one, but I think like a kid dies in it, and like there's like some discourse online about like
Terrifier
if kids
3. There's
maybe that's what sparked it. But like there was like people talking about like, oh, should kids die in movies or not?
Yes.
And then like
That's my
this
answer.
movie is just like emphatically, yep, absolutely.
Yeah, check this one out. It's like a WWE move. Nail bed.
It could have also been the When Evil Lurks from a couple years ago. Because I think there's a couple in that, but there's a really brutal. She gets like mangled to death by a dog. It's it's pretty rough.
Oh man. Makes you think of the Blob from like a couple years ago.
Like, yeah, that movie fucking rules. But
yeah. Did you recognize the chef?
Isaac Hayes? What do you mean?
The other chef, the gross guy that like the guy that gets like deep fried.
No.
Yeah. I was thinking, I meant to look that up, that
he's in another Dud movie.
That's what I was thinking, something we watched recently, but I mostly know, I think of back to a Flight of the Conchords. He's in that.
Oh, is he in that?
Yeah. But I know that it was something that we did recently.
He's Lewis in Gigli.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that takes them to like Al Pacino or whatever.
Right. Yeah, and then he yeah.
Yes.
That's right. Yep.
He's got one of those like scumbag faces where like I've seen this guy before. Like he was born to play scumbag characters. Like it's just one of those unfortunate facial, you know, things that happens where it's just like, sorry man, this is just your lot in life.
He looked like he could have been like Alan's dad, I thought. They kind of look kind of similar, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man, they like, I should have mentioned this when we talk about like the bullying. It's like not only like our people, like it gets to a weird like psychotic level. It's like almost like as the first one is a parody or satire on like slasher movies, this is doing that to the first one, because there's like, you amp up the bullying so much to where there's like the scene, I think it's after like they like strip him and then like push him out onto the stage where like everybody's there, and then you get that really emotional monologue from Ronnie. Like, we're gonna find out who did this. He's like, I'm on break. He's like, not anymore. You're gonna find out who did this right now.
Get those lights on. Turn the lights on now. I want to know who did this. I want to know right now.
What do you want from me? It's my night off.
Not anymore, it's not. Now find out.
Okay, Jesus.
But then they like take him back to his bunk, and he's like crying, and then like the kids, like everybody in the camp is outside.
At first
like,
he's asleep. So, I think he's finally asleep now. Then you just hear him in the distance.
Okay. Yeah, they're like chanting like a cult, like blow job, until he's like grabbing his head, like and it's like, I mean, you can see how this could like drive someone to the point of insanity if it's like this bad.
That was like, because this was, I started this movie. Chloe was not super interested in watching it, but then like after the first 15 minutes, she pretty much just sat down and watched the entire thing with me. Just because there were so many just like completely batshit insane things that were either happening or were being said by the characters. And when it got to that scene, we were like, this is kind of creepy. It was almost like, it made me think of like, you know, Hereditary, when you see all like the naked old people in the woods.
Yeah.
You just see like these kids like partially obscured by like the sides of cabins and trees, and they're just blow job. Blow job. And it's so funny, like, to juxtapose like that creepy imagery with such a juvenile insult.
Yeah. I know, yeah.
Angela felt criminally underused. Like, I guess my memory of this movie, I thought like at some point in time she like I for some reason
I didn't
I
think it was
like
like just until the very end.
yeah, I had like I had a memory of this movie where like I thought she like eventually takes off the cop gear, but she's like the good guy, like she helps them find the killer. I like completely memory hold how this movie ends, and then it's just like, oh no, it's her and she's crazy.
Oh no, I remembered the end for sure, but I did think she was in it a little more like as herself too. But no, are you kidding me? I still like the every now and then get the Angela. Like,
oh yeah,
the way that he screams that at the end. Angela! And then she's like laughing, and then she does the like right at the camera.
Yeah,
that's when she locks in.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? When he points and like his brother's skinned because he skins the frog, I'm like, yeah, fuck. I was like, skin that bitch. Fuck him.
Yeah,
that really bothered me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
They look like real frogs.
Yeah, I was just gonna
say
that. It's like,
I know, the one on the log, yeah, it was moving.
So I'm not sure. I can't remember what the organization is that judges those things. Like if animals are treated fairly, like NSPCA or something. It's like I don't think this film got an NSPCA rating.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I should see if I didn't like watch, like see that in the credits if it got like a no animals were harmed in the making of this type thing.
Yeah.
See, that was the one thing where I was like, okay, so the killer can't be the obvious one because the frogs are like the one thing he actually has passion and cares about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and like that was like, of course, I'm glad they didn't do that with the bird, because like the way that Vincent Pastore was like the first time you see, he's like, "Oh, I love you so much. Oh, Matilda, I love you. Oh, you're so great. I love you." Like, oh man, that bird's gonna die. But no, I
thought that
bird
too.
was okay.
Instead, he just teaches it to say, "You smell like your ass stinks."
Yeah.
Oh, that bastard, Alec.
Yeah.
That's like of the few things that I remembered from this movie from like seeing it like 15 years ago. The parrot saying "your ass stinks" is like locked into my memories. Like I will never forget that. Fun little bit of trivia though. Vincent Pastore, the head guy, was also in The Sopranos.
Oh yeah,
he was one of Tony's guys, called Big Pussy.
Yeah,
which is I'm pretty sure they did it on purpose. But at one point, Alan does call him a big pussy, and I was like, oh shit, he said it. He said the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, this
which like man,
so they got The Sopranos, they got South Park. This is very like of the time.
Yeah, for real. Well, it's like this movie came out in like 2008, but they shot it in like 2003.
Yeah,
really?
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, there was something with like the CGI that they were worried about, but like I don't remember a lot of. Maybe it was the frogs. Maybe the frogs are CGI. God, I hope that was the case.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe.
Because like otherwise, there aren't really like CGI effects in this that are like super noticeable.
No, not that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what could be like the barbed wire, maybe. But I assume that was just like a dummy. And
yeah, but yeah, knowing that it came out in like 2003 is just it's funny that Vincent Pastore went from The Sopranos to this. Just like a little bit of a downgrade there, bud.
Yeah. Oh, but he's so good in it. He's got some of the best moments. Like after he throws the knife at Mickey and he's like stepping. He does the thing like It's also made me think of The Room.
Holy shit! My God!
It's like when Lisa and Claudette, or Claudette, is that her name? Yeah,
her mom.
Yeah. When they like show up on the roof when they're fighting Chris are, and they're just like at the doorway automatically, and they're like, "Oh my god, what are you doing?"
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They're just there. They just appear there out of nowhere. I did watch all of them. I wasn't necessarily planning on it, but then I was like, yeah, they're on Tubi, so I can like watch it on my phone while I'm like doing the dishes or something like that, or but and I was worried that like they were, it's not going to be the same. It's just going to be like some dumb. They're just going to try to do like turn it into just like a generic slasher thing. 'Cause it's not the same director, or it's not the same cast or whatever. But I would recommend 2 and 3 as well. I thought all like it's a short horror franchise. It's a short slasher franchise, but it's, I think, maybe like the most consistently entertaining and consistently like good one that I've seen. Maybe like I don't know, ever, because 2 and 3 they're like different, but they're still like really fun and silly. It's like they both take place like a few years after the first. So Angela is now a counselor, and it's funny because in the third one her name is Angela, and people are aware of what happened before. But she's just like, no, that's not me. I'm like, okay.
They deserved it. It's fine.
Is she like the killer in both of them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
that rules.
It is like, and like you see it from the beginning. Like she kills people like within like 10 minutes, and you see that it's her, and there's like no mystery. Both movies are just people annoy her at different times, and then she kills them, and like they both end with her just like killing everybody at the camps, basically. But they're fun. They're very, very silly. They all have really fun like kills too, or like really creative, fun ones. Like, and even in the third one, they play up a lot of like the camp aspects of it too, where like she like douses a tent in gasoline and like lights it on fire with somebody in it, and then like as the tent is burning, she like takes out a stick and she like starts putting marshmallows on it, and then the scene cuts like she's gonna like roast marshmallows. Awesome. So they do like stuff like that. Yeah, it's good. And she's different. It's funny because she's just like a normal person now. She like talks to people fine, she loves being a camper. That's the thing. Like, she loves camp. She loves being a camp counselor. And anytime anybody like is like, this is boring, I want to go home, I hate camp, she's like, all right, you're dying next, basically. And she's so
going on the list.
Yeah. She's so like casual whenever she kills people. She's just like, there's no malice, no nothing. She's like, all right.
Oh, okay. Well.
Everyone say goodbye to Timmy.
Yeah. So don't sleep on Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3. They're good too. Where like the guy who did this one, who did Return, I know he said that like he skipped, like this skips the continuity of the second and third ones, which is fine. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But one of the characters is named TC, and one of the main characters in the second one's name is TC. I'm like, I was like, were you doing a little sly reference there? Because it's not like a common name or anything.
Yeah,
did
he
like watch
specific
those
enough?
Yeah. He had to have watched them at least.
Yeah, there's he very briefly talks about that on the behind the scenes thing, where he almost seems like ashamed of it, like he did it for money, because
this one, Return.
So he said no. So basically he said that like 2 and 3, he was like, he was talking about like, okay, we finished Sleepaway Camp 1 and he had some other projects that he wanted to do, but I don't think he could find the funding, or he couldn't. Mm-hmm. Basically, there was like all the red tape and the hoops to jump through, like the Hollywood machine or whatever. And he's like, yeah, and then, you get married and you have a couple kids, and then I decided that, I was like, I had to do that. And then when he's talking about the other movies, he's like, yeah, I licensed the movies for 2 and 3, and then I feel like he's gonna say something else, like he's gonna like kind of talk shit, and then he's just like, let's just leave it there. I licensed them.
Oh,
it's just like, yeah, you licensed the story, and you probably got a nice like payday out of it. It was just like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, like kind of like John Carpenter, where someone asked him about like the Halloween franchise. He's like, I love it. Every time a new movie comes out, I hold out my hand and they give me a paycheck.
Yeah, he's just like on the shit. Yeah. Gotta respect guys like that who are just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I made my movie. That's all I need.
You making another one? Cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Money, please.
But yeah, I think what I read, like he literally, like, I think these 2 movies are his only movies.
Yeah, they are.
I understand. So hey, we did a career retrospective on Robert Hiltzik in this one episode.
Well, it's been another 20 years. Maybe there's gonna be another Sleepaway Camp.
Maybe
that would be
still around.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man,
he's only 67, so he must have been like fairly young when he made the first one.
Yeah.
When again, when Felissa Rose was talking about it, she's like, "Yeah, I was 13, but the director, I think he couldn't have been more than 10 years older than me. So I think he was like in his early 20s directing that movie, which is crazy. Like for someone for like being like in your early 20s, that being your first movie, the first Sleepaway Camp is like, it's competently done.
Yeah,
like it." You know, it's nothing to write home about, but like, you know,
I
the
think people definitely wrote home about it.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I don't know if I said this before when I was comparing it to Friday the 13th, but it is infinitely more entertaining than the first Friday the 13th movie. I haven't seen, I've seen a couple of like the later sequels, but compared to that, like it's got so much more just overall entertainment value and like memorable bits, you know.
Yeah. Real quick, included in the Sleepaway Camp Blu-ray that I got is a 15-minute short film called Judy, featuring Karen Fields reprising her role as Judy.
Oh, okay.
It's got to be like, you know, I guess canonically like 10 to 15 years after the events of Sleepaway Camp. Okay. It starts out with like a bunch of newspaper clippings, like, you know, like doctors perform miracle surgery, like local woman barely survives injuries. Basically, there's like newspaper clippings to say that Judy survived her injuries. But holy shit, it looks like it is shot on something that even my mom would be like, the picture quality on that's not very good. Like it's like one of those early digicams. Like they shot it in 2010, which like we were doing Grandpa Crane stuff on like a Canon 7D, and it looks better than Judy, which like they could have gotten better gear, but it's like it's pillar boxed 3x4, shot on like a DV cam, and it is extremely bizarre. Like, so the guy who directed it, I think, is like the guy who runs the Sleepaway Camp fan site, which I guess.
It's not Robert Hiltzik.
No.
Oh, okay.
God, no. This is like some amateur. So it's the guy who runs like the sleepawaycampfilms.com, and he's featured very briefly in like the the Shout Factory like Blu-ray thing, where he's like, I guess he was the guy that like put a lot of it together. Like Fangoria reached out to him to do like a talk at like a horror movie con, and he basically reached out to like the director and Angela and like the other guys and got them all there. And then I guess that partially maybe inspired them to like, oh, we should make another Sleepaway Camp movie. Well, no,
that's pretty cool.
No, because that was 2003. So I think basically it was like them being like, oh wait, people are actually interested in this, like revitalizing interest. So with that, like he used his cred to shoot a short film with Judy. And it's like she's like a family court counselor person.
Interesting.
And basically there's like all of the characters in it are again like that I'm very mean and cruel and evil, and I think that's funny. Like all the characters talk like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a stepdad and a wife, and they're just like, haha, I'm not giving my wife any child support money. That bitch had those kids, and it's just like totally mean and cruel. So it captures that tone. But then just like Judy shows up and ties him to a chair, and of course she's got her curling iron. Like it's like it becomes her signature weapon.
Oh my
it's
God.
so stupid. It's so stupid. But like I was watching it, and what I was secretly hoping for was that this was gonna be the director's weird like thing against family court. Like he lost his kids, so he has to. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make my own short film with this character from Sleepaway Camp. But I'm going to make it about how the government and family court is biased against fathers. It doesn't do that. But I was like, man, this would be so much funnier if like this was just like his transparent way of like saying that shit.
This film is dedicated to everyone except my bitch ex-wife.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 15 minutes. It's bad, but it's I think it's worth a watch. I think you can find it on YouTube. I don't think it's like hard to find. They break the 180 degree rule, and it is like probably one of the most egregious examples of it. Where I was like, did the characters just switch spots? And just for no reason. Like it's showing them in like a kitchen, and they're two characters are sitting at a table. The dad's here, the mom is here, and then literally the camera goes from this end to the other end, and it's like so jarring. And I'm just like, that's like the one rule that like you're supposed to know, right? Like you don't break that angle, and it's just like so amateurish. So I was hoping that it would be better, because like the character of Judy is so much fun, and I like Karen Fields' portrayal of her, but
yeah,
the short itself was not great.
Oh, well, we've been off of Return for a while. Is there anything else we gotta say on it, or are we good to wrap it up?
I'm good.
I think we're good to wrap up.
Okay. I guess I can start. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I still feel a pretty solid dud for this, or sorry, spud for this one. I still think it's pretty fun in a different way, and it's one where like unlike the first one, I wouldn't also say that it is a good movie. You know, it's like it's a spud, and like I enjoy it for like spud reasons, and not like I don't think that this one should be in the normal cup, unlike the first one where I'm like, maybe this one definitely deserves to be where it's at, but I still think it's pretty enjoyable. I like how insufferable Alan is. Like it's like so over the top that it's entertaining to me. Just how big of like shitheads everyone is. And the great bad acting, some fun kills. It's it's got a lot of the formula of the original one. It's not quite to that standard in either field. It's not quite as spudly as that, and it's not nearly as like good of a movie as that. But it's got elements enough to where I think it's still a fun time. So it's a spud for me.
Yeah, I would also say I'm landing on spud. I would not elevate it beyond the dud cup. God, Alan is one of the worst characters ever. He's such a piece of shit. I hate him. But if it weren't for him, I think the movie would be much more boring. Like, it's a double-edged sword where he's a character that like is awful, but that is one of the reasons that makes it so funny and watchable, is because he is so awful. I feel like it's a criminal underusage of Angela as the killer. Felissa Rose does not get nearly enough screen time than like I think she does. Basically, she kind of shows up to do the same shot from the first movie, only like that's all you really get of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of a bummer. I think more Angela, even more monologuing, or more like, you know, she ties everyone up, and then she like, you know, maybe one by one goes by everybody and like, and you never liked Alan for this reason. I don't know, just anything. But you know, those little nitpicks aside, it's still very fun. Your ass stinks is like one of the great like horror movie one-liners that is so stupid, but it grows on you the more it's said, where you're like, yeah, it is funny actually.
Yes, asses do stink.
It was like, even after he gets horrifically bullied, he's like, you know what? Like tearfully, like, your ass stinks. It's like, Alan still got it.
They haven't broken his spirit yet. For me, it's also a spud, because much like that bunk bed trap, they nail it.
Hell yeah.
The kills are fun. I went into the series blind, so that reveal was fun for me. I was like, oh shit, okay. So it wasn't just shitty makeup. It's intentional shitty makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it is still shitty makeup, but
yeah, it's... There were some fun slasher movies. Like, it was a dud movie, so I was like, you know, this might just be a complete waste of my time. But yeah, I enjoyed both of them, like, legitimately.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah. Spooky month is wrapped up now.
Yes.
Back to normal stuff. Good stuff though. It's always fun. I wish there was more. Should have 2 Halloweens in the year so we can do this more often. I just like doing like the themed months, you know. To think of more stuff like that to do. But yeah, cool. All right. So now back to normal stuff. So we're gonna do Back to the Cup for a movie for an episode. So what are we gonna get? Oop. See. Nice. I was wondering when that would happen. I pulled Qui-Gon, which is funny.
Oh.
So we'll go again. We'll try again.
Your first repeat.
Yeah.
So soon.
We're watching it again.
Right here. Oh, cool. It'll be fun. We're gonna do from 1997, directed by David Fincher, The Game. This is
okay.
One of my blind spots for him. I've never seen this one. This might be his only movie I haven't seen. Well, I haven't seen his new one, but
it's about Triple H, the wrestler.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I've always been I think that is, other than his newest one with Michael Fassbender. I think that's his only movie I haven't seen. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, yeah, so watch that before the next episode if you don't want to be spoiled for it. These episodes come out on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. EST on YouTube in video form, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. With all that said, well, thanks again to our correspondent for coming on.
Yes.
It's always fun. Welcome to come on other times. I'll keep you in the loop if we do Bone Tomahawk or any other notable horror stuff. But yeah, thanks for coming on. Now, with all that said, I got to take a wicked dump because my ass stinks. I'm TJ, and with me as always.
As always, I'm Nick, you big penis. And with me, as our correspondent,
I'm Chris, and I'm sure I'll emerge next Halloween, but in the meantime, eat shit and live.
Yeah.